This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Whitmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And today, we are going to be talking about the Phoenix Suns. Ryan McDonough, the GM of the Suns, coming out saying that they're open to trading the number 1 overall pick. We're going to discuss about that. Then a report coming from Sporting News talks about the Memphis Grizzlies being open to trading the 4th overall pick. We're going to talk about that as well. And then recently, like probably 15 minutes ago, a report came out from Bleacher Report saying that it was a report on the Zach Lowe podcast that Cat and the Timberwolves relationship is a little bit icy, and they might be throwing Cat's name into trade rumors. So we're going to talk about all that here on the Fast Break Podcast. We're going to open up with Wet Boys of the Week, but before we do that, please check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. If you want to be on a podcast, you want to help support us, go over to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. It means so much to us from all of our patrons who are currently patrons. It means so much if you, who are not a patron, would go and check us out and possibly think about supporting us. Also, head over to mostvaluablepodcast.com if you want to rep some MVP merch. We got a black and white shirt, a classic MVP shirt. It's real sleek, so if you want to buy some MVP merch and rock that out, go over to mostvaluablepodcast.com. Also, if you're listening on iTunes, rate us 5 stars there. The Fast Break Podcast, the Primetime Podcast, the Onside Kick, the Rick and Johnny Podcast, and a graphic conversation. It helps us out in loads and bunches. And also, just one other throw out there, 11,500 subscribers. We are so close. We want to thank you guys for helping us grow, having 2 great months back-to-back, and we hope we're able to continue that trend. But boys, let's jump into Wet Boys. We're talking about the dampest of dudes, the wettest of boys, the moistest of men, the soggiest of shooters. It felt like we haven't done this in so long because we just did 2 hours of a draft podcast. But we are talking about Wet Boys, guys that absolutely popped off over the past week in the NBA playoffs. We're going to jump in with Ricky Widmer's pick. Ricky, who is your Wet Boy of the Week?
Before I say who my Wet Boy is, I just want to give, it's kind of an honorable mention, but it was just who I was debating. It was either this person or Jaylen Brown. I said I can't give it to a Celtic again, so I went back with Kevin Durant. I mean, he is a guy where I know game 2 was more of like we're just going to let Kevin Durant do what he does. Game 1, he went out there and completely dominated. Basically said, Chris Paul, anybody, I don't care who's defending me. I'm going to go to my spot by the elbow. I'm going to shoot that shot, and it's going to go in almost every time. So Kevin Durant, he's going to be the reason why they win this series in 6 games.
There was one thing that DP keeps saying, Dan Patrick keeps saying, that James Harden is the most unstoppable offensive player right now in the NBA, but I keep looking at Kevin Durant, and it's just like you can't guard him. You can't guard him no matter what. And he just walked. It was one play, even they were down, I think, like about 12 in the last game where the Rockets won. He just walked up and just fired up a 3. That guy's 7 feet tall and just draining threes.
You can't stop him.
He's
one of the greatest
unstoppable
scorers ever.
Well, it seems like you can tire out James Harden. You can't tire out Kevin Durant.
Well, and I think the one thing, too, James Harden will be able to do what he wants, but you cannot guard Kevin Durant. James Harden has more facilitating abilities. Obviously, he's great at driving. I think he's probably a little bit better at driving than KD. But KD's no slouch at doing that. And KD's just an unreal shooter.
Well, it's like Jalen Rose calls him. He's a professional scorer, baby.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant's unreal. Dave, you have a familiar face, but not a player this week.
I got the man with the plan. I got Brad Stevens taking the Celtics to, at the moment, a 2-0 lead over the Cavs, and just honestly embarrassing the Cavs right now. Like, this is a team of young talent and a good mix of veterans on top to keep everything together. Nothing but respect for this man and what he's gotten this team to do. Honestly, I don't think anyone saw this series going this way. I'd love to see it continue. I'd love to see what happens if he gets into the finals against either one of these Western Conference teams. I'm floored with what he's able to do. I'm honestly floored. It's
been insane so far, and we're now talking about him possibly overtaking Pop, overtaking Kerr as the current best coach in the NBA. It seems sacrilegious to say, Brad Stevens is better than Greg Popovich, but the way Stevens has his boys performing in the playoffs is absolutely unreal.
I told you guys last week, if he makes it to the finals without Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, he will be number 1 on my coach's rankings.
I don't know. It would pain me to get rid of Pop being up there, and Steve Kerr has been doing a great job, but I still feel weird even putting Kerr I think, at number 1. I think too.
No rings. All I'm saying, Brad, you got to get there.
But is it recency bias when we do these rankings. Is it recency bias on what have you done to us
incredibly.
lately? So, I mean, that's why Steve Kerr has been above Pop. That's why Brad Stevens is now being, put up there in Pop. I mean, all time, it's not even close. Pop is, one of the best, if not the
Clearly,
best.
Pop is the reason why Kawhi's not coming back to the Spurs, though. So, I mean, we gotta notch him down a couple.
Anyways, my wet boy of the week, and I just realized I spelled his name wrong on the original write-up of this this wet boy. So we're gonna have to redo this, but it's Marcus Morris of the Boston Celtics. Marucs Morris. We might just leave it. It'd be funny if I just left it. Marcus Morris, 17 points per game, 8 total rebounds, 2 assists. Shot 46% from the field, 50% from 3. Actually shot like a pretty decent amount. It took like I think 8 threes in total over the past 2 games, shooting 50%. So he's been a plus on the offensive end. But where it matters is the defensive end. And we're talking about him versus LeBron James.
The LeBron stopper.
LeBron this series against Marcus Morris. He has 56 plays, only 11 points, 4 of 14 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. Against others, LeBron in this series, 41 points, 16 of 28 from the field, 5 of 10 from 3. Marcus Morris has been doing his job, and we talked about that being a massive key in the Eastern Conference Finals previews that we did. And so far, Marcus Morris has been doing his job, and shout out to him. He deserves the wet boy for the performance that he's been giving so far in the first 2 games of the Eastern Conference Finals. But let us know who your wet boys are down below. And I do want to throw this out there because Ricky threw this out there in on Twitter that the top 3 wet boys were also the 3 finalists for the MVP.
Yeah, the top 3 from the regular season, LeBron, AD, and Harden. They were 1, 2, 3, probably what they should be for the MVP.
I don't know. James Harden had a great season, even though we gave our wet boy honor of the year to LeBron James. James Harden still had a phenomenal year. We can't take that away from him. Most likely will be the MVP because he came up with the shoe. But anyways, let us know who you have for your wet boy of the week down in the comments below.